Welcome back to part 38 of the Bugatti Bolide design here in SolidWorks. And in this tutorial, we are covering part 38. Yes. Okay, so let's just jump through quickly what we're aiming to accomplish in this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to create some fixtures from here to here, from this wing to this wing, and we're going to mirror that over to this side here. And then once we've done that, we're going to cut some more vents out on this side here, and then we're going to create some we're gonna build the wheels and the tires and the rims on this car. All right, let's get to it. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to jump in here to the future tree, and I want to bring up the planes here. So hold control and bring up these planes and press show. And then of course I want to grab a plane, and I'm gonna grab that plane off of this plane. I'm gonna bring it up all the way until we are under that wing here. So let's bring that up. That's good enough. Press OK. Okay, so the first thing I want to do here is I want to make a sketch on this new plane that we just created, and we're gonna jump into view here, and let's just grab a circle, and then let's drop that circle somewhere here. Okay, and then once we have that circle, what we're gonna do is exit the sketch. And then we're gonna jump into projected curve. So we selected our projected curve that we want to project onto this face here. So let's select this face here. Okay, so we have our first projected curvature onto that wing. Okay, and now we're gonna have to create another plane. So let's hide this plane here. And let's create this new other plane off of this plane here. So let's jump into plane, grab on this plane, and then the plane is going to fall somewhere here. That's good enough. Okay, and now let's make a sketch on this plane here and jump to normal to profile here. And on our first projected curvature is here, so the next one is going to fall somewhere over here. So let's make us another circle here. And our circle is going to be something like that. Okay, and the same, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to exit the sketch. All right, and we're just going to jump back straight into our projected curvature, and our face, which we are projecting onto, is going to be this face here. All right, so once we have these two projected curvature, we can hide plane 25. And we're just going to jump in here. And then we're going to grab a 3D sketch, 3D spline. And we're going to go from this side to this outside here. And we're just going to set these lines to make sure that they're lining up somewhat straight. Okay, so let's set one of them to about here and set the other one to about here, so they won't twist that much. And then we're just gonna jump right in the back over here, and I'm just going to adjust these curvatures here. So let's select this one to about here, and this one to about here, like that. Exit the sketch. Okay, and then we're just gonna do a simple boundary surface here, and let's select this profile with this profile here, and we're gonna select our direction, which is this one here. Okay, so you can, if you want, you can go a little bit more crazier. You can add 2 of these, or maybe 3 of them, or maybe you can add a little bit more something there, but I'm happy with this one, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. I'm going to hide these lines, these projected curvatures here, and we fix these spoilers onto that. Okay, and all we have to do now is just go to features, mirror. Let's choose this as a mirror face plane, and then features, bodies to mirror, of course, always bodies to mirror. It's that one there. Okay, and now we have that on both sides. Okay, so now that we fixed our wing in position, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut another vent on here. So let's make a sketch on the top plane here, and let's jump into normal to profile here, and let's grab a spline. I'm just gonna drop that spline somewhere here to here, and of course we can pull this line if we want more or less, right? So I'm pretty happy with that one there, and we're gonna grab another spline and drop that spline somewhere here, from here to here. Of course we want to be perpendicular with this line here, so drop it somewhere here, and then press exit, right? And then we're gonna grab another spline here. I just want to make sure that we follow this edge here, so our cut is gonna be right on target. Grab that other spline and connect this point here. Okay, now we're just gonna jump into surfaces, trim surface. Okay, and we're gonna trim out this here. Okay, that's good. But before we do, actually, I forget to do something. So I'm going to delete this surface trim. Let's wait for Solid to delete that surface trim that we just created. Okay, that's good. And then we're just gonna jump in here and edit the sketch, and then jump to the top. And let's grab a center line. Drop that center line right on the center. And let's mirror these, all these, over this center line here, right over there. Okay, so that's good. Now let's go to surfaces and trim surface. And we're just gonna get rid of, these pieces here. All right, so now we got both of those cutouts. All right, so the one more thing we will do with these cutouts, we will create a body for them as well. All right, but let's first create these wheels, and then we will fine tune those cutouts. All right, so let's save our project here. And then once we saved our project, what I suggesting you to do to create the wheels is I'm suggesting you to create a wheels that, so let's make a sketch on the right plane here, right? And of course this is the wall, and because it has a draft of, obviously our wheel gonna start from somewhere here. So if we grab a center line here and we drop that plane a little bit farther from that wall here and then drop it straight over here and exit the sketch. Okay, and then if we grab that plane and then press this line and this point, we'll drop that plane right over there. All right, so once you have that plane, we're gonna make a sketch on that plane. And then we're going to create a circle here and a circle here, and we're going to give them a dimension. So I already did that, so let me bring up that picture. All right, so this is the picture. These are the measurements that I'm working with, and if you've been following my tutorial from the beginning, you might have different measurements, because I was not measuring things or adding dimensions to everything, but basically I want to leave a little space between the tire and the body, of course, and then this a tire, I don't want the tire to be too thick as well. All right, so I made a measurement for the rims. So the inside rim is going to be 68, right, and the tire diameter is going to be 80, right, and the center hub is going to be 8, right? Because what we're going to do is we're going to go and create the wheels and tires in a brand new sketch, because I wanted these to be two separate parts, because once we jump over to assembly, I want these wheels to be able to spin, and of course in the front I want to be able to spin and also turn left and right, which we will create the mechanical structure for that and the mechanical mates for that situation to happen. So we can add some animations on that one as well. So if you want to take a picture of this and then use these measurements, you can, but I'm pretty sure you have different measurements on yours. So what I'm suggesting is, if once you make your circle and then you decide that the circle that you're going for is like that, and then you click on your smart dimension, if it says 80.45678, then just make it into a perfect number like 80, right? So mine was 80.456, so I just pressed 80, and then on this one it was 68.426, so I just said 68. All right, so the center hub is 8 for me, so I don't want to make it too big, of course. All right, so let's go back here, and then I want to save this project. So let's exit rebuild and save the document. Okay, so we don't need this plane here, so let's hide that. Okay, and then let's exit from here, save all. Okay, and then we're gonna start a brand new document here, and it's going to be a brand new part. So once we have the brand new part open here, I want to do is I want to make a sketch on the right plane, obviously, because we're revolving that direction. So let's create a sketch on the right plane. And I want to bring up these, I want to bring up this sketch here. Okay, so first we're gonna have to make a box, a center box, and first we're going to create a rim, and the box is going to be 68, and then the width of the tire, the wideness of the extruded tire, the rim is actually going to be 51. All right, so let's create the 68 box first on our part here. So let's grab a center rectangle and drop it right over here on the center, just a square like that. That's okay. And because we are revolving towards us, this side it has to be 68. So let's grab the smart dimension and make that 68 over here. Let's make this 68. Okay, and the width of the tire is going to be 51. So let's make this one 51. Okay, so that's basically our whole rim here, and the tire will fall on top of it, of course. All right, so all we're gonna need here is the top section of it, because we're going to be revolving this around. So I want to add a center line right in the middle over here. Okay, and I want to cut out the bottom section here. All right, and I probably cut this one as well. Okay, good. All right, and then what I want to do is I want to insert a picture. I want to insert a picture onto this sketch here, onto this plane. All right, so this is basically the idea that we are going for. This is the sketch that we're going to revolve around. So if you want, you can make a window snip right now on this picture, and then you can just do the same, or you can just create whichever shape you like on your rims. All right, so I'm just gonna make sure that I adjust my sketch picture onto the right size here. Make it a little bit bigger. Almost there. Okay, so that's basically our rough idea. And of course, we can adjust this one to make sure that that is going to be 8. Okay, so and because we're revolving around, we're gonna need half, which is 4, which is going to end up 4. But I want to make sure that this line kind of lines up with this line here. Actually, want to check our center point, which is this one here. So this is our center point right here. But in this case, we're not gonna go with the center point. It's gonna fall a little bit inwards because it's going to be a deeper rim. Okay, so exit the sketch. All right, and we're just gonna go back on this first sketch that we made, and we're going to edit it. And we're just gonna cut these lines out. Okay. And we're just gonna follow these lines all around. So let's grab a simple straight line and just bring that straight line from here to here, and from here to here, and from here to here, and here. Come down to here, to this far. All right. And then I just want to make a box here in this area, general area. I want to make sure that we have our sizes there. Perfect. So let's grab a center rectangle and just drop that center rectangle about here. And let's give that a smart dimension of 8. All right, so we can already see what we have to cut out. So let's grab this center line here and just cut this in half here because we don't need the lower section. Cut this down. And cut all this. So this is the only line that we need over here. Okay, so we will accommodate things to that. So let's pull this line out a little bit over here. That's okay. And we are doing good. All right, so we already created this sketch here and this upper sketch here. So let's just zoom in here for a second. And then let's see what we have created here. So we created this one. So let's make that small edge here. And let's go from here to here. Okay, and let's grab a spline from this point to this point down here. And we're going to give this a profile just to follow our line over here. Something like that. Okay, and we're gonna grab another spline and then get that other spline from this point down to this point here. And we're gonna give this a nice profile as well, following that line. And we're gonna grab another spline from this point to this point. And then another spline from this point to this point. And then another spline from this point down to this point here. And we're gonna give this a profile to follow that curvature. Okay, that's good. And let's grab another spline. And we're gonna grab the spline from this point down to this line. Okay, and we're just gonna trim this out here. And so once we have that, let's go back and grab another spline and then get the spline from here, this line, up to this point. Another spline from this point, this point, and then we already have that one set, that one set, that one set, and this one. So all we have to do now is grab it on the spline here and grab it from this point here to this point. And let's give this a proper profile. Like that. Okay, and we're just gonna cut this one out over here. We need that, of course. All right, so that's good so far. Exit the sketch, and we're going to delete the sketch picture. All right, so we have left with our profile here. So let's go back in here and edit the sketch. And all we have to do now is grab a center line, drop that center line here because we need to revolve this around, of course. And I just want to make sure that we are still in size is relatively close. So we're looking for 68. So let's grab a small dimension and measure from this line to this line to this line here. Right, so we're gonna need actually this point here. Right, 34. So if we revolve around, then obviously we're gonna have 68. So if we go to the picture here, 68, good. So because we give this circle here already, which is 4, and it makes it up to 8, that will be the perfect size for us. We are in target. All right, so let's go to features here and revolve this around. And of course, we're using our center line here to revolve this around. Okay, so that's our rim right there. Press OK. Okay, so we have a nice rim over here. Perfect. Okay, so let's jump into our this one here for a second, because I already created this room here before. And I'm just gonna jump to future tree here, and I want to grab that that sketch actually. There you go. Show that. So I want to make sure that I know where that sketch is falling. So as we can see, it falls above this line a little bit, and then it falls below that line a little bit. All right, so let's try to recreate that perfectly. Okay, so we're gonna need a plane here off of the front plane. So let's make the front plane show. And let's make a plane off of this front plane. Okay, we can hide this plane. And let's make a sketch on this plane. Okay. All right, so if we bring up our design here, this design, and if you take off the appearance, move appearance, and if you bring on our shaded with edges, we can see that our line is falling below that line over there. So let's jump over there. Let's jump back into that. Okay. So it's falling below this line a little bit. All right. So let's make the sketch here. So let's go to sketch and grab a center line. And we're gonna drop that center line, obviously, right and center. And that's a center point, let's not forget. Right, so let's make our first sketch here. And as I said before, it's gonna fall below this line here. And so we can pull this line a little bit lower, maybe all the way down here. Why not? All right, so let's grab our first spline. Let's start with the spline. And let's just double check how far that falls up. Okay, so it falls up somewhere around here. It's not very big, right? So let's go from here to here. And if you zoom in here, we can bring it a little bit closer. And of course, we can always edit it further. So drop that somewhere around there. And maybe bring this up a little bit over here. And let's mirror this entity. Let's mirror this entity over the center line. Okay, and then we're just gonna add a 3-point arc between these 2 points. Like that. Very close to that edge. And we're just gonna add a straight line connecting these 2 points over here. Okay, and then from this point, basically, we can just move around whichever suits our profile need that we are going after. So I'll probably move this around here a little bit, and maybe we just move this in a little bit like that. Okay, and then now let's go to fillets here, and for the fillets, let's just select one for now, and press yes to that, and yes to that again, and just press yes to that again. Okay, and then this corner here. Because it's a mirrored sketch, it's asking for do you really want to do that? So let's choose 2 on here and see how that looks, or maybe 3, see how that looks. So I think 3 is too much, so let's try 2.5, or maybe I think 2 more be more aggressive here, so let's go with 2. Okay, so 2 looks good. And then we need to mirror this around, so let's grab a circle here, and we want to drop that circle right in the center here. Somewhere here. Okay, so let's go to circular sketch pattern, and then let's delete the selections from here, and we want to mirror this around. And for the point, clear selection, we want to use the center point, of course. And we want to choose 6 instances. Let's see how many we have on our other one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instances on the other one. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instances. So that's good. 7 is good. All right, and we can delete this one here, this center circle there, because we don't need that. Okay, and then just press OK, and then let's go to features and then cut extrude, and we're gonna cut all the way through. Press OK. All right, so that's created that. Obviously, we're gonna come in here and we're gonna trim out here some bits here and make our hole, of course. But before we do that, we need to cut out these circulars here as well. So we're gonna make another sketch on this plane. And then we're gonna grab another center line and drop that center line right from this center all the way up here, and we're gonna make sure that's straight. And we're gonna come in here, and then we're gonna start by grabbing a spline, and we're gonna drop that spline somewhere here. Straight out to something like that. And the spline something like that. To this point here, something like that. And we're just gonna mirror these entities over this line here. So let's mirror it over here. Okay, let's grab that 3-point arc and drop that 3-point arc over here. And we want to be close to this line here. Okay, and then let's cut out this one here. And we're gonna grab another 3-point arc from here to here. And we want to be close to that edge, of course. Like that. And we're gonna move this down a little bit. So press OK. So about here. And now we can move this down or up a little bit. So let's go with something like actually here. It's good. And we can move this a little bit more in over here. Okay, so that looks a lot better. Now let's go and add some fillets. And we're gonna try one. It's gonna ask for this a lot of times, so okay, and then instead of 1, how about if we try 0.5? And that looks a lot better there, right there. Alright, now let's grab another circle here. And you want to drop it right on the center there. Drop it over here. And let's go to circular sketch pattern. And let's clear from here selection, clear this selection here. And because we want to mirror this around. And for the point of revolve, we want to select the center over there. Alright, so we're gonna go do quite a bit of here. About that much. Still want to make the rim too weak, so let's keep it like that. And then we're just gonna trim out this inner circle. Press OK. Alright, and let's just cut extrude at these instances all the way through. Okay, look, we're looking very good. It looks a lot more like a racing wheel, obviously. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's take off the shaded with edges. That is good. Okay, now all we have to do now is just fix up this inner piece over here. So for that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a section view. And we're gonna go with the section view from the side. Press OK. And then hide this plane. And we're gonna make a plane on the right plane. Sketch on the right plane. So make a sketch on the right plane. Press normal to profile. And then we're going to grab a spline. Let's just double check all our other rooms here. Here, so we did that, something like that, and then we cut that down. Okay. So let's jump back into our original, our new design here. Okay, so let's grab the spline and then actually let's grab the spline and go from here. Let's bring back a section here, and let's do a correct extrude from the mid plane. So mid plane is going to bring these things in until it cuts everything out. Okay, so that's good. All we have to do now is cut some of these edges down here. So let's go back to our section view. And we're gonna go make another sketch on the right plane. And let's grab the spline. I'm gonna go with this spline. Something like that. And then give this a profile. Okay, and then we're just gonna grab a center line here and drop it right in the center here. And then we're just going to do a revolve cut. All right, so it's got caught into it for us the way we are not wanted to cut. So let's go back into our sketch here and edit the sketch. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and delete. let's just do a Control Z to come back to it, and we're gonna delete it from here. Let's delete this cut revolve. Okay, and now we can edit our sketch. So first of all, I want to cut the center line here. I want to grab another center line. There you go. Coincident, delete that. And bring this up over here. And we're just gonna cut it like that. Let's go to features and remove cut. Alright, so that looks a lot better. Perfect. So that's exactly what we were looking for. So now we bring back a section view. And we have a good rim. Alright, so there's one more thing I want to do here is actually I'm quite happy with this rim as it is. We can add some fillet. So for that fillet, let's try 0.1 on this face. And this face probably. It's probably gonna be too much for it. And this face here. Okay, and then press OK. Alright, so that's a good fillet on that. Perfect. Alright, so all we're gonna do now, all we have to do now is add our tire onto this. So to add our tire, we're gonna do again another section view from the right plane, of course. And we're gonna make a sketch on the right plane. All right, and as I mentioned before, we already took measurements on that. So let's bring up our measurements here, and then we can see that the tire diameter is 80. So we're gonna have to make a box that is 80 from the center point right here. So let's grab a center rectangle, and we're gonna make a box right from the center here. And we're gonna be quite close to that, kind of. Let's go with something like that. Okay. And let's add our smite dimension. And let's add that, make sure that it's 80. All right. So that completes that dimension. However, we only need half of this. So we're gonna grab a center line. And then we're gonna go cut this in half. So let's just cut this in half. Okay, and maybe we can cut these ones as well, because all we need is this line here. And of course, we're gonna need our center line back for revolve purposes. All right, so let's create the tire now. So let's start by grabbing our straight line here. And let's start from very close to this frame here. Close to that. And we're gonna come a little bit out, just a little bit out of it. Like that. We can come in here and adjust this to be a little bit closer. Like that. And one more thing I want to do actually is I want to grab a center line from this edge to this edge here, and I want to grab another center line that then drop it right on the middle. Well, so let's make that vertical. It's right in the middle. Good. And now we have our parameters of how thick our tire is going to be. All right, so let's hide this line here on the lower section. Or we can leave it for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and add first a spline here, a small spline. I want to come in here and I want to give this a little bit of profile, like that. As you can see, it's not so much. Okay, and I want to grab another spline. I'm going to grab the spline and bring it all the way up to this line over here. Just going to grab on this line. I'm just going to pull this up over here. And I want to make this here vertical. Let's pull it up to about here. And pull this down somewhere here. So our tire will have some sort of angle to it, right? And not sticking out too much. I can bring this out a little bit. Let's just add another spline point over here. And let's bring in our control polygon just to make things a little bit easier. And of course, I don't want it to be too straight on this side, but I do want to have a sharper corner on the tire. And also, I want to make sure that we have that circular shape on the tire, so it's not completely flat on the top. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and try and mirror these entities over. Probably we're only gonna mirror this entity here. So let's mirror this entity first over this sketch that we just made over here. And it falls right over here, which is not a problem. And then we're just gonna grab a straight line here and then just come down to about here. And then, as you can see, we're gonna come all the way down to this point here. And then we're going to add a fillet on this corner. Okay, and then let's go ahead and offset these entities here. Oh, 10 would be too much, so let's try 1. So we're going to reverse that. Now we're trying to reverse that. To the other side. So let's try that one more time. So offset. And then reverse direction. 0.1. 1. 0.1. 0.01. 1. Yeah, so that was not good. Let's go Control Z. And let's try that one more time. So offset. Reverse. So offset this. Let's see, 0.1 and drop it right in there. Okay, so we're gonna go with this one. It's pretty good. And then press OK. So obviously that's not gonna be good for us. So actually Control this or Control Z. All right, so let's just do this manually. So let's grab a straight line here. Support is not here. So basically that's going to be the thickness of our tire here. And then just give this a profile as well. Well, most of the time, like when you're creating the thickness of the tire, the offset command works perfectly, but sometimes when there may be some areas where things are a bit sharp, and let's close this SketchUp here. Perfect. All right, so now let's revolve this tire here. So let's go to features and then revolve. Of course, these are revolve axes over here. So I have a feeling that, oh, okay, so we gotta cut this out here. Sketch, gotta extrude. So maybe that was the problem before. That's why we wasn't able to do the offset. So let's go to features, revolve, axis of revolution, and there is a tire right there. All right, so our tires look good. It has a nice slopiness to it and everything. Works perfectly. Okay, and now let's give this tire. This has a very sharp corner in here. So let's give this a fillet. Maybe that would be too much. So let's try 5 on that. Or maybe 8.